live just about now. Well, good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming in. We hope you're all doing well. So tonight we are recapping on an investigation we done about nearly 2 weeks ago now. So we've got Sarah and Laura, as you can see, and we've got our friends back. Give a wee wave, Laura. Give a wee wave. That's it. That's a girl. That's here. She's still learning. And tonight we've got our friends back, Will and Kat from Paranormal Exposures. They made it home safely, which we're quite glad about. So it's good to see them again. As you know, we met up with them nearly 2 Hi Wayne, I hope you're feeling better, buddy. They were all here for a week. And so we had the pleasure of meeting up with them and investigating. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the investigation. We went to a place that we've been to a few times called Loudon-Kirk in Ayrshire. I'm going to let Sarah control the comments tonight. Usually I do, but I'm going to let Sarah because she seems to be faster than me. So welcome back, guys. Kat and William.
Yes. Very happy to be here.
Yep. We hope you enjoyed your week in sunny Scotland.
I did. It was nice. Well, I was shocked it wasn't raining.
Will's originally from Glasgow. He's about 2 streets away from where I used to stay. So we didn't know each other back then.
Pollock boys.
A couple of Pollock boys for Glasgow. You know what I mean? So hi, Paranormal. Andy Murphy's in. Don't talk to him. I get quite a slagging off of him last night. Karen's here as well. Wayne's here. And Parapost Network Central here as well. Hi Jeff, thanks very much for coming in, everybody. So you got quite a good week weather-wise. How did you feel to be back in Scotland?
Well, you think the last time I was in Scotland, we were in Scotland was 2017, and we had also made plans to come back, but also COVID kind of messed that up slightly, and then just as we thought we might be able to get over that, then we had a storm here in 2020, August 2020, called Derecho, and it pretty much trashed the city, including our house, so it put everything on a kind of massive back burner. But getting back eventually, it was great, you know. It was nice to see the place hasn't changed. Although, like I said, I was still shocked about the weather. I was like, what's the rain?
It's no change. Jeff, we're all doing fine, buddy. And hi to Nikki and welcome to Laura. It's our first time watching, so welcome to our show. Laura, hope you enjoy it. That's 2 Lauras we get in. Laura in panel, Laura in chat. No, Scotland's never changed, especially Glasgow and stuff like that. You know, it's never changed in the last 30 odd years or whatever. And I don't think it ever will. So how did you enjoy yourself, Kat?
I always enjoy every time we're there. It was good seeing family. It was good getting to hang out and just relax for a little bit. And obviously getting an investigation was really cool. So it was really awesome to meet you guys in person and get to spend some time with you. So.
Well, it says the word.
And there's our cat.
I've never been more grateful for subtitles. Thanks, Nikki. I was talking to Nikki during the week. She's coming on soon. Everybody says that, but when they listen to Scottish people, they need subtitles. How did you cope, Kat?
I've never had an issue understanding. I don't know why, but I seem to understand everybody pretty well. Luckily. Made the investigation easier for sure. I didn't have to be like, hey, what did you say? So.
No, that was me because I'm still deaf, so that's what happened. I could hear anybody. You know.
What?
So,
sorry. No.
It's not going to work, Kat. You got me the first time that night we were at the cup. You got me that. It's not going to work again. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I'll still get you.
No, you're right. Hi, Jacqueline Doll. Andy's saying Jock and East translation manual available. And Andy is originally from Ripon, down Yorkshire, where he's over in America. The news in Antelope Valley for work. So, but don't listen to him. He's on the more at night actually, but tell. So we've done the investigation, say Loudon-Kirk. We've been quite a few times, and we wanted to get Cat and Williams. Oh, sorry, Andy, Manchester. My bad. He's from Manchester. Sorry. So I'll hand it over to Cat and William to talk about your thoughts, etc., on the investigation we've done.
Okay. Well, I will start out. It was a very interesting place. Walking into the grounds had its own energy just being there. I really enjoyed your team, just being like the way you guys do things and the way that you guys set up stuff and the courtesy that you have towards Spirit. I mean, it was you guys are a really remarkable team, and I appreciated every bit of that. Because that's pretty much how we approach things. And as you guys were setting out equipment, and I'm like, cool, this is like working with my team, because everybody was just, you know what you're doing, and you just kind of go with it and you get yourself set up. So there wasn't a lot of time wasted getting, prepped for what we were doing. I think you picked an awesome location. It really had a lot going on. There was a lot of places that I still kind of wish we would have spent like another 2 days there, and not really. It was getting cold, but there was a lot happening, and a lot of things changed. It felt one way when we were there during the day hours, and then as the sun went down, it started having a whole different feel to parts of it, and it was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for the compliment. We're quite laid back and easy going, and we're quite fortunate. We do. Sarah and I do have a brilliant team. And you can have a bit of carry on, a bit of banter, as we say in Scotland, But at the end of the day, we're there to investigate, and enjoy it. Still be serious and respectful. I'm taking my shoes off, by the way, in case you wonder what I'm doing. I'll take my shoes off.
I can smell that for here.
Oh, God.
I don't know how well, because they socks are fresh. They were clean Tuesday.
Pollock boys wear fresh socks. I don't know that one.
That's when they go crusty at the end. That's when you know it's time to change.
Just put them outside for 5 minutes, it'll be fine.
I usually turn them inside out.
Aye.
This went downhill really fast, guys.
I think like Kat was saying, I think there's a lot in that place that's still undiscovered. There's a lot to that place. It's not a huge location, but there's a lot in there. Mm-hmm. And like Kat was saying, when you first go there in daylight hours, it's got a different feel. It's very peaceful and quiet. And you can kind of go around about your leisure, but as soon as the sun goes down, then it kind of changes. Like towards the end, before we left, you could, like when it was me, Kat, yourself, Scott, and the other guy, the other tall gentleman.
Craig.
Yep. As we were kind of walking down that back path, I felt like we were getting pulled in 2 different directions, or something was trying to pull us in 2 different directions. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that was just out of curiosity. It's like, something's like, okay, who are these people,
I totally agree with you saying it is a different kind of atmosphere. It's as if it's going to, the only way I can describe it is as if with nighttime comes. There's hi Chuck Buddy, and what's he saying?
Right there.
Like the PI. Aye, there you go.
Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, they were nice enough to gift us a candle. It sits right here in our little paranormal lounge.
We're going to get more of them. But no, the atmosphere does change as the night goes on, and it does get kind of no. I wouldn't say heavier. It's just a totally different feel to the whole.
It's very watchful. I think it's more watchful. It's kind of like these spirits are here. Like, well, what are you guys in here at this time of night? Mm-hmm. Going to keep an eye on you and kind of follow you around, but it's nothing more than that.
What about Sarah? Sarah's been a few times obviously with us. Get her thoughts on it. Put her on the spot.
Well, I like Loudon. Apart from the fact I get abuse every time we go. Yep. Other
No
than that,
obvious.
no of yous. But other than that, it is a great location, and no 2 times are the same.
Aye.
What were you, Laura?
Me. I like Loudon. I always love them. I think so. For me, it kind of holds a special place because I obviously know that I've got family business there. So that's always interesting. And I only knew that because the fact that we were investigating there and we got that through. So yeah, I love that.
And it's also it's an old, it's an old place.
Yeah,
It's really far back.
How far back does it date? That's one of those things I couldn't remember. How long has it actually been there? Because I saw some things when you look at the research says like 1400s, and some say as early as like 1198. How long has it really been there?
I think it dates back to the 1100s, because the way when you see where the church used to be, and then the graves are in sight,
right?
Between the two gable ends. I found that strange at first. Well, two gable ends, so obviously the building was, here. But it turns out the graves actually came after the church was in ruins, basically. But it does date back to the 1100s. It's got ties to the Kennedy family, I believe. Laura will be able to tell you better, I think.
Actually, Craig was able to tell you more details.
All right. Craig will be able to tell you. I made a mess of this one, innit?
Yeah, I find myself looking stuff up now. I've got a lot of curiosity regarding like some of the things that we got there. What's up with Agnes? That was really awesome. We just kind of wandered over to that side, and then we had 2 different things come through saying Agnes.
Mm-hmm.
And then we found a stone right there that said Agnes. And then we were like, I don't remember if it was somebody on live or if it was somebody or one of the devices, but somehow red came about.
I believe a question.
The color red, like favorite color, and then red came through. But then William and
I think it was Laura. I think we were in that.
It was me, William. Yeah.
The headstone, the white, it was kind of part it was leaning against another part, and you could just make it the little. I don't know what was described, but it said blossoms red.
Yeah, that's right.
And then that stone actually had Agnes also. And I think it's interesting because like the tall gentleman was Craig, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Craig was asking questions like, is this your husband, reading off the tombstone? And she answered no. And then we found another stone with Agnes, and I'm like, so many questions that we were, asking there, and then we weren't quite getting answers. But I'm like, which Agnes was it? Now I really want to know. Like, I want to really figure out which Agnes.
It's the kind of location that you really need to spend hours in. I would say during the day, simply because there's that amount of headstones that have been forgotten about. As you saw Will and Cat, and in amongst trees, bushes and stuff, there's headstones you would walk right by. But once you start kind of digging through the bushes and that, you can see there's a lot of very, very old headstones. I felt that night it was quite busy spirit-wise. I think there was quite a few of them. But I felt like, how can you put it? I think I said this on the night that they were all kind of in the...
Sorry. Look at Laura jump. So we have a dog. That was her. Sorry about that.
The beagle.
All right. Your heart comes back.
The paranormal's not scary. It's living things that are terrifying, right? Sorry about that. We're going to temporarily mute my dogs.
All right.
Hey, Marty, buddy. Yeah, you can still hear me, can't you? Just nod.
There we go.
There we go.
Okay. Quiet dog. My son was just walking in. The dog goes nuts.
Laura jumped anyway.
Scott was saying it was quite a traffic heavy for spirits, and touching on a point Sarah made that you can go there 2 different times and it's never the same experience. and you think how far back that site goes.
Mm-hmm.
So you wonder if there's different spirits in different time periods, or just kind of gone back and forth. And you're, one night you're interacting with this, Agnes, and the next week you come interacting with something further back. It's kind of, that's what's interesting about it.
It's totally. Always Karen. Hi, Karen. Karen was there with us that night as well. But the most, see, we've been there about 5-6 times, and we've always had activity. But the one thing that has always been constant is a little girl. We always seem to get some kind of evidence of a little girl. And I was glad that it happened when you guys were there as well.
So I wasn't really aware of your little girl stuff, but after watching the Estes session over again this morning, because obviously we did that session at the Celtic Cross, and I apparently was connecting with a little girl, and something was touching my shoulder, and something was touching my hair, and people on the live were like, "There's a little girl playing with her hair," and I'm like, I can't see what you guys are getting on live or for comments or questions, and I can't hear what you guys are saying. And just the amount of answers that came back to the questions that were asked, I was actually blown away. I'm going to go back and watch it again. I'm kind of in awe of how accurate so much of that was. You would ask how many are here, and I'm throwing up a number. And you're asking a question, and what color is your hair, and I threw out brown, and I'm like, there's so many things that were immediate answers to what you guys were asking. I know Laura had a couple questions that she asked during that, and like instantly there was exactly the answer for what she was asking. And like, we've not had that many Estes sessions that are that accurate. You get here and there where you have like, some of the stuff fits and makes sense, and then you have some random words thrown in here and there, but like almost everything that night was pretty much spot on. It was pretty cool.
It was as if, do you think it was as if obviously we felt there was spirits around us everywhere. That when you sat down, Kat, you got all your stuff on, that the spirits actually maybe clicked, well, this is a chance for us to speak. We've been wandering. It's going to sound stupid, but we've been wandering about here all night.
Right.
This is your chance to get ourselves heard, kind of thing.
Right. 100%. So I'm still in awe. I was just kind of like, I sat down and watched that. As I was watching it, I'm like, oh man, I'm getting like full chills watching myself with the headsets on, because you guys are asking questions, and you're like, we had the name Tom come through, and like, as we talk, I'd like to touch on Tom a little bit, but like the little girl, and then you guys are saying something little girl, and what do you want us to do? And then I'm like, find me. And I'm like, when I'm watching that, I'm like, wow, she was wanting to play a game or something. And then Laura's like, she wants us to play. And I'm like, it was just, it just fell right into place. It was very like, all of us were in tune with what was happening. Like, you guys were spot on with what to ask, and they were answering you because they wanted to answer you. And I was like, I'm literally just a conduit in the middle. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just sitting there in a pair of headphones rattling off words. So it's, it was really cool to just get to have that with you guys. Hello, Vaughn.
Bart's got a question. No, back to what Bob. Do you think you guys think the one energy, it could just be a long past caveman spirits which don't know how to...
Interesting.
I'd say it's possible. It's obviously way back then they never spoke, so.
And some spirits, specifically with that place, some spirits, especially older spirits that are coming through, don't know how to use certain devices.
Right.
Some will be familiar with them, especially if there's a lot of teams that go in and investigate, and some will be like, I don't know what this is,
Are there a lot of people that investigate at Loudon Kirk?
It is quite a popular place for them. There's quite a few teams that we know have done it. It seems to be. I know of teams that went and done it. I've only watched one or two lives that they've done. So whether they've had the same kind of responses we've had, I don't know. But it is quite a hot spot for kind of local teams.
Because they seemed to know how to use things. Because I know, like right at the beginning, we had that cat ball on the tombstone that was right by the church that we had right away, and just the fact that they were interacting in multiple ways, I thought it was very interesting. It felt like they knew how to do some of those things because they were able, to answer questions with a cat ball and have them be like accurate. And the K2 readings we were getting, because we had the K2 on 2 different places up there at the church part at the beginning. They obviously have they've encountered these things before to be able to do yes/no questions on K2.
And they've remember, since you wanted to touch on Tom.
Yeah, Tom. That's the name that came through multiple times during the Estes session. I just found it very interesting that I had a couple men trying to speak through. The one, obviously, I couldn't understand him. Like when I was going back and talking to William about it, when someone has to have like the little voice thing for their throat to be able to speak because they've had either throat cancer or some other injury to the throat. That's what I was hearing through the headset. And I couldn't make out any of the words. It was not clear enough for me to hear most of that. And then shortly after that, all of a sudden, we got Tom. And you were asking questions like, are you part of the family? And he said no. And, somebody was asking about his, is he with his wife? Is his wife buried here? And he said, Rich, and then heaven. And then you guys are like, is your wife in heaven? And all I really remember from the Estes session is when I took those headphones off at the end, I was super sad. I was just like, the feelings I was getting from someone was just heartbreak. And I think Tom's not crossed over and his wife is. And he's not with his wife and he's heartbroken. And for me, I'm like, somebody needs to go back and cross over Tom.
Mm.
Tom doesn't
crossing over his spirit, I'm not going to sit here and say, we can do that because it's not something we've kind of done in the past.
Right. It's a big deal. But I'm like, that just made me very sad. Tom is very much there. I would love to go stone to stone and find out which Tom he is. Or, is he part of the pauper's grave that's not marked? We don't know. I just kind of felt like, regardless, the fact that he knows his wife went to heaven and he's saying like, that's where she's at and he's not, that was just like, wow.
He's been left behind basically.
Right.
It just makes you wonder why he chose not to. Also,
maybe he isn't able. I don't know, but so many questions in the paranormal, right?
There is. It's endless the amount of questions.
For everyone,
that's Sarah gone. She'll be back.
Everyone answer those 5 questions.
Right. Every time we get an answer, there's more questions to ask.
That's the thing I love about the paranormal. I mean, you got these people who say they're experts in the paranormal. Really, no chance. There's no such thing because the paranormal is that vast that, you can be in the paranormal for 40, 50 years and you still learn.
Right.
But the thing I found that night up at the back with the headstone that was fenced off.
Yes. When we were going to finish our live and then we kept going.
You see, who was it says to me? Because we threatened to leave. Was it one of you? Somebody says to me.
I don't remember.
Somebody says to me, you seem to get activity after you threaten to leave. Because we're going to wind it up and then it started to get more and more active.
We did. Because when we walked up to that caged area, the fenced area, I, with my own eyes, saw a shadow move off to the side around the shrubs on that pathway. And so one of the weird things that I noticed, when we were walking during the daytime is why is there that pathway around the outside? I just find that kind of an odd thing. It's a very worn down, like through the trees. It's a very clear that it's a full walk around circle pathway around the outer part of that. And that's where I saw that shadow go to. And we started to follow that. And, you know, several of us were like, you could feel like the energy changed at that moment. And then as we were heading that way, it was like, no, it's that way. Something's trying to get us to go that way. And, you know, it's just like, was it something trying to take us somewhere? Was it something trying to distract us from finding something that we were getting ready to go to? I don't know. It was just very...
It is a very... Mark's got a question. Do you think it's right to try and pass spirits over if they haven't already? I can't really answer that one because it's something we don't have a lot of experience, we don't have any experience in. So, you know,
I feel like if a spirit wants to be crossed over, they have every right to be crossed over. I think it's a very touchy subject, and the facts that you know, it has to be done correctly. So doing it as a novice isn't really a great idea. I think that there's a lot to it. I've been a part of one. It's very emotional. It's very overwhelming. It's, you know, it's not something that I do as a regular thing. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. But yes, I think if a spirit wants to be crossed over, trying to force a spirit to cross over, I don't agree with that. If it's a spirit that's not wanting to be crossed, then that's not right.
It's like you what, dog? Sorry.
Then it should be given the opportunity whether we want to cross over or whether we want to stay where they are.
Aye, exactly. Should we get, you know, the option is, I've said this in a few lives, I say we don't know much about crossing them over. It's never something we've looked at it because we've never done it. I would imagine it's the same kind of idea as try to get a spirit, you know, a person to leave a room.
Right.
You know, in the physical.
Mm-hmm.
If a person doesn't want to leave a room, they'll leave. Same as if a spirit doesn't want to move on. If, you know, maybe for example, Tom, you know, it's Lloyd and Kirk. Maybe he's happy there. Maybe he misses his wife, but he's happy there.
Right.
For, you know, whatever reason. I'm not saying that it's the case. And he's happy just to wander about and meet people, if that makes sense.
For sure. And it's, you know, each to their own. As I don't know what the spirit's experience is. I haven't got there yet. You know, I just am in the process of learning what I can, and I really enjoy like having the connection to being able to say, hey, this was a real person, this is who they were, you know, being able to put an actual story with the person. I think that's really part of what we do. You know, these spirits are here for a reason, and they're communicating with us for a reason. And unless we dig deeper, we're never really going to know why.
No, 100%. If you can make that, if you pick up something on an investigation, then after the investigation, you find some piece of, you know, information, whatever, whether it's on Google, wherever it is, that ties in with what you found or what you picked up on. You're quite breaky up, Laura.
That better?
A bit better, aye.
I want to say that did happen to me after Lloyd and Kirk. I spoke to Sarah about it. I don't actually know if I've mentioned it to you, Scott.
I can't hear a word you're saying.
Can you not?
No, it's quite muffled.
Okay.
Hold on. Is that better?
Right, go for it, girl.
Is that better? Yeah.
Yeah.
You were saying that about things that matter in investigation, right? That actually did happen to me after Lloyd Kirk, right? So the name Agnes confirmed is prominently a lot, right? Well, I actually found out, I spoke to you about this, I actually found out 2 days after that we did that investigation, my great aunt Agnes passed away,
Oh, wild.
and the name Paul also ties in.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
But I don't quite know how to take that or how coincidental was trying to use that word too much, but it's certainly strange.
Yeah.
That's the thing with the moment. It's just things. You know?
Those are very odd connections. That's
Mhm.
that's kind of cool.
I mean, there's still, we're not saying, you know, that's definitely, you know, but there is
Right.
a kind of connection.
There is a connection.
There are a couple of comments to put up, folks. I'll stick them up just now. So yeah, I've seen I've seen teams try pass the cleanse the house of house by not posting on a negative end. It's a little frustrating at times. That there are too many clown teams out there. Very, very true, Mr. Murphy.
I hope Mr. Murphy's not calling me a clown. Just kidding.
No, be calling me a clown. Don't worry, call me a clown. I have watched this done before. When the spirit requests, I personally do not feel experienced enough to do this, but I agree with Kat. It's very emotional. Trying to clear houses across. Seen a few lately off on the service. That's the thing. Andy says I've seen a few people offering, you know, we'll come and clean your house, whatever, and it's what a business, you know, it's what a business to them kind of thing.
Well, that's. I mean, it's no. If a spirit chooses, you know, if it wants to be close to her, I'm sure it'll get its message across to you. You know, if you're investigating. But you know, at the end of the day, leave them be. You know.
You know, how can you say, live and let live.
Aye, some
In a way of speaking.
Certain places that they're in, it's the only place they ever knew. You know, it's the only thing they had in life. So, you know, you think in death, you know, that's where they want to stay. They don't know anywhere else. You know.
For me, like the biggest question I have on all that, Scott, is are they really stuck or are they just visiting? And how do we even know the difference? So, like, we have locations where we know there's spirits that are there and communicate intelligently. And I don't feel that they're in any sort of despair. And I feel that they're very happy. And I kind of have the, you know, and again, this is just my gut feeling, but I kind of feel like they freely come and go because it's a place that they enjoyed in their lifetime and they like to come back and visit sometimes. They're not stuck there. They're not trapped there. It just happens to be a place that they want to be able to still associate with. And so they are free to come and go. You know, are all spirits that way? I have no idea. Are some people lost out there in spirit world because they don't know how to get to where they're going? Probably, but I don't know. You know, it's so many. Like I said, you get one answer, you get 5 more questions. Like William said, you know, it's such a big subject matter of the unknown that none of us are ever going to know it until we're there. And, you know, we're just kind of dabbling in trying to get the smallest bit of understanding to be able to know what's coming next for us.
That's it. I totally agree with you. I mean, with the can spirit come and go. We've all seen, you know, we've all seen the films. We've all heard the stories. You know, when you pass, you know, when you die, you can go wherever you want. You can go visit people. You can drop in and see them. You know, and then you can get back to heaven, whatever you know you want to call it. Or you can just hang about the same place. So who does know? As you say, these people that we pick up on, are they just there visiting? There's Laura gone now. It's going well the night, isn't it? We've lost Laura and Sarah.
Bye, Sarah.
Hi, guys.
Are they there visiting? Are they trapped there? They've heard, you know, some of them don't know that they've actually passed over. Some of them refuse to leave. It's the old unfinished business scenario.
It's a whole mix. Like I say, the only way we're ever going to find out truly is when it's your turn. You know?
Aye.
And then we'll get our answers. You know? But until then, it's just... Until then, all you can do is just keep, you know, going to these places, investigating and seeing, you know, if you can put 2 and 2 together, you know?
Well, that's the whole thing. If you can piece it together, then These comments are glitching for some reason. I don't know why they're glitching my screen. I do believe there are genuine talk about the house.
Yes,
spirits
Vaughn,
on the house.
Vaughn is very correct. There are people who are very experienced and educated and do that legitimately. And I know some paranormal teams that do it legitimately. It is about whether they're doing it as a service for the sake of being a service, or if they're doing it for the sake of monetary gain, or, it's not, there's people that need help. And there's ways to help them, even if you're not super experienced at that stuff. But you have to be careful what you're playing with. There's a reason they say don't start investigating in your own house unless you're prepared to deal with what it is. And, if you start investigating in someone's house that's having activity, but you're literally only going in there to investigate, are you enhancing the energy that spirit is interacting with and making it worse for the people that live there? That's something that I think is very serious. And teams that are not experienced going into homes and trying to offer services in that sense, it's a touchy subject. Are they benefiting the person if they're going in the home just to investigate, or are they making it worse? There's a fine line there.
There's a very fine line. Vaughn says she keeps getting kicked out. I don't know what's happening tonight, Vaughn. We seem to have lost.
Vaughn's being kicked because she's being so accurate, and Spirit doesn't want her to share all of that smart.
But I mean, this, as everybody's saying in the comments, Andy Murphy said for money. Martin says stuff about the house cleaners as well. As you say, Kat, you're spot on. It's somebody's home. And there might not be anything there at all, but then you get some team get in, and there's Laura's been kicked out as well. I was leaving. I was get away. Sorry, guys, I've been kicked out. Can't get back in, but I'm on chat. There we go. As long as she's in chat, she's here in spirit, shall we say?
She was beautiful to see. It's all good.
See, I think people do yourself should remember it's for helping people. Exactly. This is the. I was having a conversation with Andy Charlie for the Haunted Touch last night about the sort of money side, and obviously paranormal seems to be heading. I'm not saying everybody in the paranormal, but there's quite a few people out there in the paranormal now that are just looking to make money. And these house clearances, now we would never clue how to do it. We would never dream of getting in to somebody's house and saying, right, you've got a spirit here and we can help you. Because we wouldn't have a clue the first way to go about it.
And that's why we still don't do that as a team. I don't feel like our team is in a place where that's something that I am experienced enough to do. Yes, I've communicated with spirits. Yes, I've had, things where I've had pretty wild communications and interactions, and it's valid. But does that make me, from having done investigations, someone that feels like I'm capable of making a spirit leave a location? No, never. I've got a lot of learning to do before I even think about it. If there's somebody that's like, hey, I have stuff happening in my house, I want you to come and validate it, I'm going to go through and do an interview. Why do you want it validated? What are you looking to get from it? Are you trying to find out, is it a family member? Hey, is it something that's peaceful and I just don't know how to understand what it is? I would consider that. If it's somebody that's like, I can live with spirit in my house, I just need to know why they're here and what they need, then I would consider that as an investigation that's a valid attempt at doing something. But if it's somebody that says, I have demons in my house and I need somebody to come and clear it, there's people that are much more qualified and would be a better choice than trying to bring in just a standard paranormal team. I don't need to document what's in your house. You need to get actual help if there's something that bad in your house.
Exactly. I've changing there. I've been lucky enough. I met a lot of great people in the paranormal, yourselves included. I always actually say that when guests are on, yourself included. Apart from Kat trying to catch me out every now and again with the old tearing thing.
Aye.
I heard that. Aye.
I think it'll be good.
No, I tell you, Kat, you can try 200 times. It's not going to happen, though.
William didn't hear what you said.
Tough. You can tell him. You can pass the message on hen, as they say in Glasgow. I mean, well, I mean, I speak to a lot of people, and some people have been in the paranormal 20, 30 years, and, you know, some of them have said, I would never try and cleanse a house, and I've been doing this for over 30 years.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I'm doing. You
right.
know? And it is a lot, a couple of comments there, too much later about money, stars, memberships, overpriced events. It's a fine line between money making and trying to get better places. A lot of time being, but doing individual personal investigations and charging, that's wrong.
And see, I was just getting ready to tell Martin that we have this really cool event coming up, and he's welcome to attend for like £500. But I'm just kidding. No.
Well, I can read that. Well said, Kat. Totally agree. I think by stating exactly what you are about, being genuine is the key. Well, that's it. You know, if you don't know about something, I mean, I've watched quite a few podcasts, and you know, people get asked a question, and you can tell they're just talking crap because they don't know the answer. But rather than turn around and say, "Look, I don't know," they, you know, they'll turn around and make up all this mumble jumble up.
There is so much that I don't know, Scott. You have no idea.
And we're still learning. With all the different locations that we go to here in Iowa, we're still learning for these places. It's not like we know them inside out and we can just roll in there and get, you know, evidence. We're still learning for it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way in hell that you would be like, okay, we're going to run and do, you know, a personal investigation of somebody's house. No, we're still learning for these other locations.
No, it's, and the thing is, it's the other set. I spoke to Tim Johnson from Ghosted UK about this. I hate using the word mental illness, but if you go into somebody's house and you know there is something wrong, there's no a nice way to say it. You know, if there is, you know, they do have some kind of mental health issues, and you go in and you say to them, "You've got a demon," you know, or you've got a negative spirit, when it's actually with their central heating pipes.
Right.
What
right.
damage you can do, you know.
Oh, for sure.
But it's, you know, Andy's making a point that like the paranormal's really picked up in years, and there is a lot of popularity, you know, with TV shows and things like that. And some of them are great shows, and some are like obviously have a little drama effect, you know.
Karen's calling me out saying I have psychological issues. I'm just kidding.
No, I think it comes.
I'm just kidding. Karen knows that I love her to death, and she's such a sweetheart. And I'm super glad that we got to meet her while we were there. So
I think she's talking about, because I was saying mental illness, and I hate using the words, psychological issues.
I know. I was just playing. I have all that.
Did you get that, Kat? Did you? Oh, there's Laura back there.
She's back.
But it's turning into. I'm going to come back to Loud and Kirk, by the way. I know we're kind of an off topic, but you know, as Andy and Martin are saying, it is turning into more of a money-making machine for a lot of people these days.
Well, even the equipment sales, like buying equipment and all of the things that people recommend for like the newest, best, greatest things for investigating, there's a lot of money investment in paranormal. Whether it's the places you're going or the equipment you're buying to take to the places or whatever. And the reality of it is you can have an experience with just yourself. And I think sometimes people don't understand that. It's very hard to justifiably provide evidence to others when it's just your own self-experience. But are you in it for proving to others the existence, or are you in it for the experience? And that's a decision that everybody in paranormal has to, like, you know, what's the real reason I'm doing this? You know, am I looking for answers for me? Am I looking to show someone that this is real? Why are you in it? What do you need to be able to accomplish what you are doing? You know, I don't have to go to a bunch of really expensive locations to have an experience. Loud and Kirk is one of them. We didn't have to, you know, there was no monetary investment to go and have an amazing experience.
No, exactly. That's. I mean, a lot of people say the Scots are tight and stuff. We are tight, you know.
I like Scotch. Oh.
No, me, Scottish. You calm down.
Can't go, yeah.
I forgot what I was going to say there.
I mean, like you say, Loudon-Kirk is not Loudon-Kirk. You can go to anytime and you'll get an experience there.
Aye,
You know?
exactly. You know, I mean, you get these people. No disrespect to them, these individual choices, but I mean, I priced a venue last year, and it's like £1,200 for 3 hours. I don't know what that is in dollars. Say $1,000. I don't know.
And I'll never go.
You know, £1,200 to spend 3 hours in this place. We had a couple on last week. Jan and Steph in Lanarkshire, Paranormal. They do events. Jan priced. She didn't name it. It was a castle, and they were won over £4,500 for 4 hours.
Ouch.
Yeah, my budget's not doing that.
You know, 4,500 for just.
I'm about to something put on a TV show and thinking I'm there.
Watch the show and catch up later.
If you have too many on events, just contaminate an entire event. See, I don't know what you guys say. I've heard, you know, some people say, if you've maybe 30 people in an event, you can get contamination. But then I've heard other people, the other side of the coin, say, well, you know, if you're 30 people, you can split them up into groups, you know. We don't do events, so I can't really say yes or no. You know what I mean?
So we've actually been to an event. We're actually going to an event here at the beginning of June. And depending on the location, events do work. But again, you do break it up into smaller groups. You have to be mindful. You know, if you're doing EVP and digital recordings, then you got to really have your ears on when you're listening, because there is a lot of background noise to those kinds of things when you have that many people there. But like, you know, we had 30 people at the event we were at Malvern Manor last year, and it was a successful investigation. We depended on other evidence, less EVP, less digital recording because of the amount of people there, but we had other equipment and other means to obtain accurate evidence. You know, it's just how you approach it. When I do tours and stuff at the location that I assist at, we have had 20 plus people in there and still had accurate evidence. It's just how you approach it. You have to think of things very differently. It's a different investigation. It's a very different style of investigation.
Experience, you know, it gives you that kind of experience of how to change your style of investigating, you know, which is also a good thing, you know, mix up a little bit.
We've done a couple of investigations before. No events. We've not done events. We're not even looking into it. No intention of doing events, but we've had, you know, quite a handful of bodies there. Pardon the pun. And you always kind of get somebody, you know, they'll shuffle their feet or butt, or, you know, make some kind of movement and what have you. You're trying to, you know, so I do get the kind of general point of the contamination side. But it's not really something we would look at. But then there's a lot of money involved in it. I'm not talking about you guys,
right? And I don't do events. I've attended events. I'm not in it for money. I'm in it for enjoyment and understanding. So for me, like, I don't think I have any desire to even think about events or otherwise. I do like attending things where I get to investigate with other people that I think are really good investigators. Which is why we're going to Malvern Manor in June for their finale of a Malvern experiment. And I want to see what the experiment was. We were in experiment part 1, and we're going back because I'm like, well, what did we do? I want to hear what the finale is. So we're going back for that. But it's not necessarily that I'm going with the intentions of an investigation. It's kind of like going to a Paracon and, you know, being with the people and learning from them and having the conversations and those kinds of things.
Because you can always learn.
You know, I feel like there's learning experience in a lot of things, and me attending things where people that are experienced are at does provide me the opportunity to learn something for experience. But it's not necessarily that I'm going for like high expectations of quality investigation. So it's a trade-off. I wouldn't go to an event for a high quality investigation.
See, it's just hey buddy.
Hello, Australia.
I think the fact that the passion comes through from your cat when you're speaking about it, you know, says it all for me.
I love what I do.
Yeah, you can tell the passion that you've got, the way you speak about it, you completely, it's like you're smiling, but it's inside. You completely light up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
Your
that.
head's getting bigger and bigger. No, Laura's right, but you know. I don't think she heard that, did she? Shh, I don't think she heard that. You didn't hear that, Kat, did you?
I didn't hear anything.
I'll tell you later.
No.
Laura, don't you dare grasp me in.
What?
Exactly. Exactly. That's my point. Exactly. I think the thing about events, again, no disrespect to everybody does them, but I might be wrong. It's just my personal view that if you start doing events, you know, there are teams out there that as soon as they start up the team, let's do events. You know, no private investigations, just do events. I think it takes the personal side out of it, you know, out of what you're doing. You know, if you're organising events and you've got people coming to it, and it takes away that. If you, how can I put it? If you're doing an event, sometimes you might be under the pressure. I feel like I need to deliver here. You know, I'm not saying fake it, but you get yourself worried in case you don't get any activity. Does that make sense?
I guess I've never thought about it because I've never done that side of it. I think events have their place. I think that that's an opportunity, especially for people to, you know, get together and share an experience. I think events provide the opportunity for people that don't even know what it is. You know, there's a lot of good reasons to have events. I mean, as I said, we're attending events. So, you know, obviously I'm not anti that. I just am, that's not my thing. I don't want to host them. Because I'm looking for a different experience. And there's just so if the experience you're looking for is literally to get into all of these locations to say that you've been in them and you don't want to have the investment in gear that some people have, events are a great way to get to go to these places and have some sort of an experience. You know, you do get usually a better rate sometimes on some of the events because they have so many people coming in, and you know, it's just kind of it's just its own different thing. I'm totally cool with people that do events. I also love teams that do the lives because that allows people to share an experience. You know, doing a live interferes with getting evidence as well because you're doing it in a different way. It's what experience are you trying to capture? And so everything needs to be looked at in different ways as to like, this has its place, you know, this has its place. What do I want out of this? And you know, that's how it, you know, every team has a different reason.
Sarah said, I've only seen that comment come up of yours. I don't know if
that's the only comment I've seen of Sarah's also.
I can see.
See, I enjoy doing the lives, you know.
I do too.
Because obviously, if you can't get out, we started doing the lives during the, you know, when the pandemic first started, we weren't allowed to go anywhere. Mark says he's just, I don't know what's happening tonight. Mark's just been kicked out as well. I don't know what's happening with this tonight.
We're having too real of conversations and Spirit's just kicking butt.
Right. They're like, nope, we're shutting this down.
I don't know what's going on. I do apologise, folks, if you're being kicked out and in. I don't know.
If you're being kicked out of watching our live, please blame Scott, because Laura and Will and I have nothing to do with it.
Well, I was going to say, you witnessed something weird in my house during the week, Scott. And
you made me a cup of coffee.
Oh, ha. You are funny.
Somebody's getting a black eye soon.
Oh, weird.
Right, that's shut up. That's Laura. Shut up. Aye. It's okay. I'll
Thanks,
blame
Martin.
Scott anyway.
Martin knows.
We do.
Blame me. Aye. So Laura had a wee experience. I was there as well. That sounds bad, doesn't it? I just knew how that sounded.
That sounds really
I'll let
bad.
Laura explain it.
Glad I wasn't there.
Carry on, Laura, in your own
No,
time. Though.
No, I'm not taking this away from you, Scott.
Laura borrowed one of Laura took a cat ball home and she placed it on top of her fireplace. No, top of your.
No, it's in my bookcase.
And I was up visiting the other day, and the cat ball just goes off randomly. Now, on one side, I'll let you tell it because they were your pets, Laura.
All right, okay. I took the cat ball home after like an investigation, right? And I put it on the floor, and it was there for a couple of nights, didn't go off. So I moved it. My husband moved it into the top of the bookcase. Okay. Now it was there 3-4 nights. Not one thing went off. Scott comes in for a cup of coffee. I'm in the living room with Craig, Scott, Scott's daughter, and my daughter. And the cat ball went off randomly twice. There's no explanation for that at all.
Wow.
Very strange.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. And the thing is, the cat ball's sitting right next to the ashes of my passed over cat and dog. It's right in the middle of them.
Things happen for a reason.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's very strange.
We've had times where we've had like, and again, ours was also cat balls. We had all of our gear in a bag, and I have some that are like the ones that we use for paranormal, and then I have some other ones that are green and only blink red. And for saving the battery on those, they had the little plastic piece that slides into the little slot between the batteries so that it can be like shut off and not active. And I've always put the little plastic piece back into them. And there was one day that I had the bag just sitting off to the side, and 2 of them started going off, and I'm like, that's not even possible. The little plastic piece is still in the middle. And 2 of them
I like the cat balls. I mean, I've thrown them across graveyards and stuff, and they've not been off. Because they are quite solid. And it's when they just go off randomly, or on demand. You ask a question, you get a response. To me, you can't debunk that. If you keep getting it going off and off in demand, and that's part of the joy in investigating.
So one of the things, I'm dragging us way back to Loudenkirk really quick. When we were doing that nesting session, and I was sitting there on the ground, I do want to clarify that I purposely sat to the side of the cross and not on the spaces in front or behind, because I don't know which side burials would have been. That's why I sat to the side of the cross, because I know there was one comment that was like sitting on a grave is disrespectful. I agree. I didn't want to sit on, that's why I was to the side of it. But we were videoing for a long time. Well, you guys were. I was just sitting there in a blindfold being me. But we had the EDI sitting up against the cross, and Patty, the blue lights flashed, and Patty commented that she thought it was a cat ball blinking, or that she saw the blue lights. That thing had been sitting there the entire time with no interactions. And then all of a sudden, while certain questions were being asked, it lit up. You can't debunk that. That's an interaction. And it was happening while we were getting answers. And it was while we were talking about the little girl and, her wanting to play a game. And then little lights went flashing.
And there was people saying that there was a little girl. I believe there was a guy called Mario was in the chat as well. He kept saying there was a little girl there. And we've always had
evidence. We didn't go find her.
The one interesting part
Hi, everybody, thanks.
SS session was there was a comment that came up when you were live, Scott, and I don't know who said it, but they said there was somebody standing next to Cat or behind somewhere.
Right.
And at that, after you read that comment out, you can see Cat doing this. And I think she says somebody.
I felt somebody like to the side of me, and then the person had the person in chat had just said there's somebody standing behind Kat. And like, I can't read that. I can't hear you, but I was reacting to something directly behind me. And like that to me was pretty awesome.
It just seemed to be that night. I said that, I don't know if I said earlier on, I was going to say, in the middle, as you mentioned, the path came round the side, came round the outside. I felt it was busier in the middle of the cut card, spirit wise, as if they were just kind of walking about, unaware of each other, you know. But I definitely felt that something was on that path, and it was going.
At the end of the night, there was definitely something on that path. Was it trying to draw us back out?
Maybe it was. It could have been, or was it trying to split us up?
Yeah, I don't know. It was a different. It was a different feel. It definitely was that, because it was pull in one direction, and all of a sudden it was like, no, it's this way. No, it's still that way. You know, it was very like, but it got us out of the space. Were we investigating somewhere that it didn't want us to ask questions? Maybe, I don't know. You know, that's where you get, again, how many questions come up because of something that happened. So many more questions.
It was very weird. And then when we were standing in that area that was fenced off, I could, as you were looking at the headstone, I just had a feeling that we were being watched through the right hand side, at the back here.
Yes,
there was somebody there, and then when I stood over there, the K2 meter was, and I said, you know, if you're standing beside me, you know, make that, and it lit up.
Yes. And I was testing to see if it was camera range, and it was not the live affecting it, because I was able to get a lot closer. And I didn't have the K2 going off, even being a lot closer. So that was legitimate K2 interactions that were happening when you were asking for it.
So to me, it was definitely a male. I just get a feeling that he kind of controls it. He likes to. He's got it said that he sort of runs the place. You know, if that makes sense. Sarah got Sarah one. I see that comments going up. Paranormkal is an amazing place. Like I said, no investigations are the same. We always get different, and always get feeling a lot that we are being. It's just Sarah's bag on what she's saying. That's one of the reasons I picked, you know, Loudon-Kirk to take you to. I mean, we've been to quite a few other places, but I knew at Loudon-Kirk, it's never let us down. You know, whatever way you like to put it, we've always stuff.
Well, I hope we get to do it again the next time we're through. No idea when that's going to be, but like, I have so many questions that I would, as much as I would like to say, hey, take me somewhere new, I'm like, I kind of really want to go back and find out more about that place, because that really was an interesting investigation.
I'm going, guys. I mean, what we could do is...
Love you, Karen. See ya.
Here, Karen.
Talk to you soon, though.
Can you not set up a live, Scott?
It's our favourite place, followed by Dunure Castle. Dunure Castle is a place you need to go to as well. Next time through.
We need more time next time we come through, and we'll just hang out with you guys.
You do. You need to. As Vaughn, if you're ever up this way, dog, we'll take you. It's an amazing location. Dunure Castle is amazing. We've been there a few times. What we could do is set up. We're doing this with paranormal analysis as well. We can go and do it as a live and set up a panel like this, because the reception, the signal there is quite good.
Right.
And we can have you guys on panel when we're there.
That'd be interesting. That'd be interesting. I'd be up for that.
Yeah.
I'd be also interested, Kat, to find out what you feel sitting in your living room. So
I do watch lives often for other teams and things like that, and I do pick up stuff on other teams' lives. That's something that I do enjoy doing. So yeah, I think it would be an awesome experience just to see how that goes.
That's what we'll do.
Craig needs to be in the headset. I don't know why, but I think Craig needs to do an Estes at same location where I was sitting.
Craig needs to be.
Craig, put Craig in the headphones. Put him in the Estes session. I don't know why him, but that's what I'm feeling.
He did it the last time, one of the previous times where he put the headphones on, and he got quite a bit of responses, and that was the night the spirits were quite rude. We get told to F off, F you. Sarah get called a two-faced bitch.
Sorry.
That night as well. I don't know.
I love that
who
Laura
was-
giggled at that.
I don't know. Hopefully, you got your dog. We're not going anywhere. We shall be here. Sarah gets abuse.
Uh-oh. Well, don't put Craig in the headset then. Sorry for that suggestion. I don't want Sarah to be abused.
I said, love Sarah.
I do have to say that I've abused my team as well through Estes sessions. We've actually done some where, you know, again, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just blurting out what needs to be said because they're telling me to. And when I pull off the headphones, I don't remember the words that I'm saying. I just was listening, saying, and moving forward. And we've had sessions where I pulled the headset off and everybody's like, I can't believe you told your husband to F off and that you told him he was a loser. And then you told that we have a young girl on our team that was 16 at the time. And I apparently called her a whore and a bitch. And I'm like, it's not me. I don't know.
Honestly, it's not me. I was told to say it. That sounds like a wee kid defending itself. I was told to say it. Yeah.
I find it interesting why so many people, like even us, why is there so much profanity? Why do we go into locations and have devices come through with profanity? It really blows my mind sometimes.
Says asking, can we sack Laura? I'm staying out of this one.
I think it's always just because maybe we're like in their space, you know, and they're like, oh, you know.
But didn't they have more formalities, or were they that profane back in those times too? I don't know.
You see, that's a good question, Kat, about the profanities and stuff. You know, we've Loud and Kirk, we've had it. I think we had it at Dunure and a wee bit at Caldwell, if I'm right. But other places we've been, we've always been quite lucky that way.
Mm.
But as Will says, it could be because we're in their space. Do they still, you know, is this their area? So get yourself to.
You think you've had maybe teams in there before, you know, day in, day out, and you know the spirits just go to the point where you know none of this. Please, can you leave? It's you know it's going to start with the profanity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and does it progress from there if you don't leave, or if another team goes in? You know, it's like okay, so the profanity is not working, so now I'm going to try something physical. You know.
Yeah.
We've spoken of this before on lives about spirits getting fed up, getting bored. You know, if you get teams get into a particular location 5-6 nights a week, whatever.
One of the spirits said on board when we were there.
The spirit, you know, do you think spirits get paranormal burnout as well? You know, you think of the energy it takes for them, you know, just to get a message across or a word across or a manifestation, any of these kind of things. So on a constant daily basis, they're doing this, you know, so they must get to a point where they get a burnout. And they're like, nah, sorry lads, no today.
And do they get fed up getting asked the same questions?
Yeah.
Probably.
Time after time, you know, what's your name? Blah, blah, you know, all the usual.
Speak into my little red light and tell me who you are.
Aye. Are you getting sort of your spirit standing there like this, you know? No, again.
You know, unless you ask a certain question or do a certain thing that maybe it does trigger their curiosity a little bit, so they might, like, okay, I'll kind of go along with this, you know, I'm kind of interested here.
And that's one of the things that I thought was very cool about investigating with you guys is because when we got answers, everybody on your team was immediately into figuring out who, what, where, you know, reading tombstones, looking at locations, searching in the area around. What is there something that we can draw in to make an actual question that would be something that pertains to who we're talking to? Mm-hmm. And I thought that was really good that you guys, you know, that you guys were very into being specific and being analytical and looking for answers rather than, hey, what's your name? Cool.
Aye.
What should we talk about?
Aye.
You know, it was, you know, asking questions right off the tombstones. You know, that was awesome. You know, being able to get answers related to those things immediately was awesome. You know, it was a really good experience.
No, thank you, dear. It's just trying to do, no disrespect to other teams. As I said before, we try to be different, no special. We'll never be special, wherever we are, you know. It's just trying to look at it from a different angle. I know you get teams will get a word through, you know, could be anything, cabbages on the neck of phonic, and they'll be all excited. Or they'll get a name through, and that's it. But if you can get something and you can build on that, the other side is if you do have a spirit there trying to communicate something to you, and it'll come out with a name or a word, and if you can go and find something that connects to that name, then you're letting spirit know that you are interested.
Right. Right.
You know that you're not just there to get your K2 meter lit up, and that's not a euphemism. You know what I'm saying?
I thought we were there just to get our K2 lit up.
No, sorry. No. But, and I think, yeah, William, I take my hat off to you. I don't go one, but you know what I mean. For putting up there.
I get lots of paracetamol, so 2 a night helps.
You put me off what I was saying again, Cap. Swear to
You're welcome. This is my magic. This is my magic power, Scott.
I know.
Power of distraction.
What?
Huh?
Aye. So Yvonne agrees with me anyway. If a spirit's watching you and they see, you know, oh, he's away looking. Oh, right, they found it. Well, they are interested in me, you know, then you've more chance of getting more interaction with that spirit. And maybe other spirits around, maybe other spirits will say, wait a minute, they are interested. Let's go to them.
Right.
That makes sense.
So another thing that I think is interesting, Scott, is that when we came into this investigation with you, and you've been to this location many times, you didn't focus the investigation on what you got last time. You started it like a new investigation. And I know so many teams that like they get names or associations with a location, and then they repeatedly go back to try to communicate with that individual. And to me, like, awesome if you get that individual to communicate with you every time, but who else are you missing because you're only asking for that person or spirit? And, you know, I think that there's so much more. And so like, even when I do like talk to people about locations, I try to be very careful about sharing a whole lot of like, oh my gosh, we get this person every single time, and this is who you should ask for, and this is what you should do. And the reason is because every spirit's going to interact with someone differently. You know, what you're getting, Scott, is not going to be what William's getting, and what Laura's getting isn't going to be what I'm getting. They choose to interact because they connect with you in a certain way. And I can't make a spirit that connects with me connect with you just because I told you how I connect with them. You know, I think that everybody needs to be so open-minded in how they investigate, because there's so much more there than what we even have an understanding of.
Exactly. You need to, I mean, okay, I have mentioned the little girl. The little girl seemed to be a constant theme whenever we went.
Is it one little girl or is there many?
We've always just picked up the one, as far as I can remember, just been this one little girl. She seems to be always there. But as you said, when you go in an investigation, you know, Laura's away again. What was happening tonight, folks? I do apologise.
She got tired of me talking.
The same place. Hi, Stephen, buddy. It might be a whole different crowd of spirits that's there. You know, as you say, and they've never seen you before.
Right.
So you can't just go and say, right, well, the last time there was an old man here, and there was a woman over in that corner, and, you know, there was a couple of kids in the middle, because any spirit that's there might just turn and say, well, right? Who cares? I'm here, you know.
Right.
Whereas you begin fresh, and I think you get more activity that way. You know.
Well, it was an awesome time. We definitely had activity from the very beginning and all the way through. Like there was something to follow or go after for the entire time we were there. And that was an excellent location. I absolutely hope that we get to go there again. So,
well, we can set up, as Laura said, we can set up a live where we'll go and have both of you on the panel. And
I think that'd be cool.
I think that'd be awesome.
It'll be like a joint investigation, but not. I was trying to be interesting there. That was but not. No, is that not interesting?
I'll give you 5 out of 10.
5.
5, you know, I'm kind of middle of the road here, you know.
All right, you're 50. You're on the fence.
I think it'd be good though. Cause,
No, he says it'll be good. He thought your humor with your or not was only 5 out of 10.
I know, I heard them, Kat. Thanks very much anyway.
You're very welcome.
I do.
No,
I do understand Scottish, funnily enough. I get the
Do you need me to translate him for you? Because some people need me to translate when he talks.
No, I'm totally fine though. I do understand. It's when people mail me in English that I can't get it.
Oh,
Right, I think that'd be an interesting concept, didn't like that?
I think so too.
Because then if Kat picks up on something, she can also relay back to you and say, "Hey, picking up something for, you know, this section of the Kirk or that section, you know, I'm drawn, you know, I think I'm drawn towards this part. Maybe try doing something there, you know."
Mm-hmm.
Maybe,
And I'm drawn to hearing more about Laura being front and center because I think that she's got a lot of ability that she didn't share while we were there.
Well, what we can do is we can let Laura lead the investigation. For your side,
I think Laura's pretty fabulous, and I think that she's got a lot going for her in investigating. So, we didn't get to see a whole lot of Laura in action, and I'd like to see more of that. So,
I guess she went back to the car. We see her in car.
Well, it was cold. It was cold.
What was it cold?
The ground was cold and wet. I was on that.
You see, well, I must say, before praising my team, about Sarah and I, as I say, have been quite lucky. The team we have got, they are absolutely fantastic and good at what they do. But I did admire you, Kat, for sitting on the grass for best part of an hour, maybe.
I have no idea how long it was.
it was
25 minutes?
just under 25 minutes, I believe.
All right, maybe I held out the road during investigations. LL, she does, bless her. Well, it was about 25, 30 minutes, something like that. You know, you were still sitting in the grass. And do you know what? This is going to sound totally nuts, but it's true. It's true. More dramatics there?
Yes.
No?
I got it. Yeah, you're good.
Aye, it's there.
Get in there. Give me another month and I'll be right on it, you know. It's a weird location, Loudon, because it doesn't matter what time of the day. I mean, we've been there at all different times of the year, all different times of the day, where it's been raining or absolutely, you know, it's no rain maybe for 2 weeks, with 2 weeks of sunshine. The grass always seems to be wet.
It was damp.
You know, it doesn't matter what time you go. I've noticed. I know it sounds totally nuts. But even in the middle of summer, I've been, and you maybe had great weather for a couple of weeks.
So do they mow? So does somebody mow the grass there?
Aye, they do. See,
Okay, it was just really long, so I was like, maybe this is just like actually not like kept like that. I have no idea. So
no, I'll tell you why I was laughing, because obviously William mailed me about the thing that you left up there. So Laura and I went down the next the Thursday, and the grass had all been cut. Funny enough, and so we couldn't find the
right.
the,
And I wasn't worried
the-
about it. You know, that was at least only a $20 thing. So, but I'm like, man, if it's there and you can have it, then
Take
have
it,
it.
right?
You know, might as well be used.
Somebody took it. But the funny thing was, as Laura said, she says, right, we need to find out where it is. I said, well, who are we going to ask? The guy that cut the grass?
Yes. Go
I
find
don't know
him.
who he was, you know. And so she was wanting that it's the bereavement services or something here, something to do with the council. Says I'll contact them and ask them who cut the grass. She was going to go digging for this. So,
I wasn't that worried about it. If it was an expensive piece of equipment, I guarantee you I put it in my bag. That one I just forgot about. So
if you'd have found it, keep it, use it for your investigations.
but I found out, I think it was Sarah that said to me after it that there's more than one cross.
that's curious. There was that one that was the laying down broken one that you had found.
I'm not my idea.
See, I'm not mad.
About
What's
finding out who took the thing. But what cross did you leave it near?
Well, it was on the tombstone beyond the cross. It wasn't on a cross. So that was probably a miscommunication. So we were at the cross where we did the Estes session. And then one tombstone closer to the outer trail from that cross is where that other thing was. So
probably the wee guy that cut the grass.
Hey, if he loves it, he can have it. It was worth it.
He's building himself a set of equipment just by stuff people leave. It's like, oh, that's me. I'm sorted. I've got everyone who can go investigate.
He's going to start having his own team. It's all good.
Cutting grass. No, that's a Scotland cat. He'll have sold that.
It's not worth anything. It was $20. So.
Laura says she emailed them.
As I said, I'm not worried. If you guys get it back, enjoy it because I don't need it. I still have one. It's basically like the paranormal music box, but the poor person's version. I loaded in some sounds for music box type sounds, but it's a motion sensor. So anything that crosses in front of it, it starts playing music, kind of like the paranormal music boxes do. But I got it for $20 instead of $400. So
it's some lucky fellow,
right?
Taking it away with him.
That's all right. If somebody's getting use out of it and they're happy, that's all good. My trip was worth it.
Unless he wakes up in the morning.
My trip to Loudenkirk was worth $20.
Unless he lives by himself and he wakes up at 3 a.m, the thing's going off.
Aye, that's true. That'll teach him to steal it, know what I mean? But I think we'll wind it up there, folks. Just before we go, what was the kind of highlight of Loudenkirk for you? One thing that sticks right out. Sure. Don't look at each other.
I'm gonna say the SS session because, as Kat said, I think that was pretty. As soon as you ask a question or whoever, there was an answer that followed it straight after. And sometimes you can wait a bit before you get an answer, or you get something completely different. Whereas this seemed to be on point, spot on.
I liked the fact that we, at the very first moment, were having the cat ball and K2 interactions before we even really started investigating. Something there wanted to communicate with us before we were even all in, ready to go. Because you had the K2 that was sitting on the tombstone that was inside the church area that you had set there. And we had that cat ball that we sat on the one just outside the church area. And both of those were getting hits before we had fully invested into, hey, let's do this. And so to me, it was like instant interactions of, hey, we know that you're here. Can you hurry up and talk to us? We're ready. And to me, that was pretty phenomenal.
As if they're standing against a wall, like this, right? Hurry up,
Right.
You guys are taking too long.
Any idea how long I've been waiting?
Yeah, it's been a couple 100 years. Can you hurry it up?
I don't have much energy left before I need to go.
Yes, meeting the team. I do agree with Sarah. Meeting all of you guys was definitely really awesome. So I loved every single one of you. I think you guys are great. I love seeing what you're doing. Karen, shout out to Karen because bless her heart, she came and picked us up and she brought us there. I talk to Karen a lot now. Not enough, Karen. If you're watching this replay, please reach out more. I enjoy talking to you. But getting to connect with people, getting to be able to even Vaughn. Now I feel like I need to meet Vaughn. So I'm gonna have to get back to Scotland at the same time that she's visiting Scotland because I think that'd be a pretty good investigation.
Well, you can come to Scotland, but you won't meet Vaughan because Vaughan's in England.
I said when she's visiting Scotland.
All right, I never heard
Yeah.
you there. Sorry, what?
Yeah. If you had your hearing aids in, Scott.
I have. It's called earphones. Vaughan's lovely. Vaughan was on.
Yeah, I just, the opportunity to meet people is the best part of this. Getting to work with others and learn from each other. I mean, you guys are great. We loved it. I absolutely will do it again. It was awesome.
There's one thing
Thank you.
talking live, but to actually meet face to face is a completely different thing, and that's just
Aye. I'm not going to mention your height, William, but
He's wee man. I'm even saying that on live. He's wee man.
I'm party sized.
I was saying Vaughan's lovely. We done one a couple of weeks ago. She's coming back on 2 weeks' time, I think. I don't need to check the diary. But it is different when you keep telling you, Scott, you can. I've not what your hearing aids.
Yay, Laura! Oh.
I can lip read in Scottish. Well, Vaughan's got a message for you. I can try and make Scott if you let me know when you can be that guy. It's fine.
See, we're gonna have a paranormal party. It won't be for a couple of years though, because we got to be able to afford tickets again. But
you need to start saving again. But it is different when you meet somebody face to face. I mean,
or face to shoulder, as William would be.
Well,
William.
It's not very often I'll meet somebody smaller than me, so it's quite good.
I don't care what anybody says, man. I'm just party size. That's what I'm on.
Aye, but you're compact.
Aye.
Just stick in a pocket. Just,
But I wouldn't do any of this without him. He's my sidekick and absolutely like part of the reason that I do all of this. We've been doing paranormal for more than a decade together. So where in the US are we? We are in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Right in the middle, Midwest.
Not Ohio, as I kept saying.
Iowa.
No Ohio.
No Ohio.
Remember what I said to you, Scott, when we were there? Like, if you want to remember Iowa, like
corn, not potatoes.
John Wayne, the Western actor, came from Iowa.
Right. Vaughan's coming over Virginia.
That is very far away.
Oh, well, at least you'll still be in the same country as you. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
But no, it was brilliant meeting you two face to face, and you can see the commitment that you have got to each other and the passion that you have got for the paranormal, and that's really important, And you can tell that you are just out there to, do what you love. You're not there for fame or sponsors or whatever. You're out there doing it because that's what you want to do. You're not trying to say, look, I've got the greatest, I've caught the greatest image ever. Look at this.
I heard somebody say that Scott wants to sponsor us. That's crazy. Thank you. I'm just kidding.
I got you a candle.
Exactly. Here goes a candle.
That's us sponsoring and promoting you. No.
I'm sure I get something.
I'm just picking on you, Scott, as always.
A pen. You got a pen if you want.
I'll take a pen. I mean, sure, I'll take a pen.
No, you guys are awesome. I look forward to just sharing with you guys as we continue on this path. I love watching what you guys post. I love seeing the pictures. I love, if I can jump on and pick on you on your lives, I definitely will.
I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or a threat.
Yes.
Faith.
I'm starting to wonder, buddy. But no, you're welcome on your lives at any point. So just before we wind up, what's next in the books for you guys?
We on next Friday, May 13th and 14th, we're going to be doing 2 overnights at Edinburgh Manor, which is the place that I'm a representative of. And we actually have a couple other teams coming in and investigating with us. So that's going to be pretty awesome. From there, we have the Malvern Experiment first weekend of June, which is Malvern Manor on the other side of Iowa. So yeah, just keep moving forward with all of these little things. We might throw in a couple random I know we've got a couple cemeteries if the weather's nice that we'd like to stop and visit at in the area. But yeah, pretty.
Here's one last question for you. If you say cemeteries before we go. Over here, we've got graveyards and cemeteries. A lot of people don't know the difference between the two. A graveyard here is, it's a graveyard with graves and a church of some kind on the ground. A cemetery is just basically graves. Is it the same over in America?
Cemeteries are cemeteries? I guess I've never looked into the specifics of it. Not very many of them have churches in them. Most of the ones that are like with a church aren't in the Midwest. I can only think of one that I've seen that's a church, and it's an old church with the graveyard. Most of the ones that I've been to are all cemeteries. So I haven't really thought about the comparison because I have never been investigating at one with a church because we don't have a lot of, when I'm talking old church, I'm talking maybe 100 years old, not 400, 500 years old. So
1,000 years old. Like
1,000 years old, yeah. So
same here in Australia. David said, no, I just thought I'd ask you because a couple of people said to me, oh, it's a cemetery. Saying, no, that's a graveyard. So what's the difference? Say, well, a graveyard or a kirkyard is obviously kirk, the old Scottish word for church.
yes.
Is when there's some kind of church or whatever building on the ground. Oh, I didn't know that. Just a random question. So that's you guys. That's what you've got coming up next. So definitely look out for that, folks. But we're going to. Jason, I don't think I've seen any down here in Texas that has a church connected to it. Right, so they're not that common. And we're going to set up that joint investigation where we will be going back to Loudon-Kirk.
I think that'll be awesome.
Kat and Will be on the panel with us because the signal is quite good down there, so we'll be able to do this no problem. So that's it for tonight, folks. We're back tomorrow night with Charlie and Rocks and with Mr. Murphy, and who was in the chat earlier. We're just having a chat, basically. I don't think we'll get any subject tomorrow night. I think we're just going to chat. Basically,
awesome.
If you guys are free, feel welcome to come along. 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Kat and Will, if you're only doing anything, we're just going on for a.
I will probably be driving back from my parents for Mother's Day because America's Mother's Day is tomorrow.
Oh, see, that's right. See, I could
because we're mixed up because you guys have Mother's Day in March and we do it in May.
Exactly, because Jennifer, part of our American team. I was talking to her the other day and I said, we've got a live on Sunday. And Jennifer says, right, I'll come on. And then she mailed me back to say, wait a minute, I can't. It's Mother's Day. I thought, our Mother's Day was back in March or something.
Yeah.
But yours is away like 2 months later or whatever.
Yep.
That's kind of weird. That's like, Chris, I know in Australia, we're quite friendly with Hectic Paranormal. In Australia, they've got something like 2 Christmases, one in July, one in December. I think. Interesting. Which I find rather strange. With disrespect.
Christmas. Every day should be Mother's Day.
You think? No, look at his face. I need to buy her a present every single
Do I need to get you a drink now? No.
I make it a strong one.
Very strong one. So don't use to disappear. I'll keep you after we come off. Don't run away yet. I'm not finished with you yet.
Sounds good.
All right. That was more drama there. Come on, seriously. You must have got that bit.
All right, we'll give you that one.
What? Yes. One. Excellent.
One for Scott.
I'm happy, man. Right, so we're out here, folks. Thanks very much for coming out and take care. Hopefully we see you tomorrow night when we're back. So take care for now. Bye. Bye.